Good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to talk about how to go about obtaining your medical records, your personnel records, your military records, so that you can file and also work on your appeal claims. I'm doing this video so you can avoid a lot of the mistakes I myself have made. I'm going to provide a lot of the links on how to go about getting your VAC file, your personnel and medical records, so that you can begin your claims, and also when you're working on appeals, how to avoid a lot of these errors and mistakes. First thing I want to say is I talk to veterans all the time, and a lot of times I'm amazed at how many times they tell me that they have their records scattered all over the place. Records in the pantry, records in their closet, they're just scattered all over the place. So basically they have a file like this in one of their clothes drawer, another file like this somewhere in the closet, in the coat closet, and some of these loose files like this somewhere in their desk drawer. And that's not going to cut it. That's not going to work. We were all in the military, very detail oriented, attention to detail. There is no they. I remember, even doing your CQ log, they came by. First thing they're going to ask you is, who is they? There's no such thing as a they. Here's the deal. You guys, and when I mean guys, I'm talking about ladies and gentlemen in general, but you guys need to get organized. It's going to take some work on your part, but believe me, the VA is not going to do this for you. If you submit a claim, and basically all you're stating is, I'm sick, they're not going to go research the documentation. They're not going to pull it for you, and etc. They're not going to do the research, do the legwork for you. You have to do it. And I am aware that the VA has a form. I don't know it offhand, but anyway, you can submit the form for the VA to pull the medical records from each of the doctors. And you can do that. However, I personally would recommend you getting a copy from each one of these doctors yourself. All right, so let's get started. First off, you want to go to the VA and you want to request any files that they have on you. See file, it doesn't matter if it's written on a piece of toilet paper. Anything that they have on you, you want a copy of that. This is what I got back. That's book 1. Book 2. And book 3. These files right here that I received contain everything from the VA. Even documents that are irrelevant towards my claims. That's okay, because I went through every single one of these pages and pulled out and made copies of this. It doesn't matter how you want to organize these. If you want to separate them by civilian medical records, VA medical records, however, it doesn't matter. Whatever makes sense to you. I, however, have mine in chronological order by date. Once I've received these files, I started going page by page by page, every single one of these, right? And I'll tell you what I did next. Everything that is related to my claims, right? I suffer from Gulf War illness. So anything that's, if I went on sick call complaining about diarrhea, which is related to Gulf War illness, falls under IBS, it's in here, and I make copies. If I went on sick call because I'm constantly getting headaches, which is another ailment related to Gulf War illness, it's in here, and I make copies. So once I comb through all these files, I created a second book. The red book is mine. This is my baby. Anything related to my claims, anything to back up my claims, they're in here. Now, what I've done with this book is I've also included all my civilian medical records. I recommend it. I went to every single one of my doctors and demanded I asked them politely, I want a copy of my records. Hospital records, it doesn't matter. I went to every single one of them and I got a copy of my records. So, anything related to the VA, anything civilian, it's all in here. This book here, as you can see, it's organized by sections. I have it organized by sections. I even have copies of my last CMP, which the VA totally messed up. All kinds of errors, lies, mistakes, the whole 9 yards. It's in here. It's in red, annotated, right? So this way, whenever I go to the VA, I go for a CMP, or if I go to the doctor, I take the book. Well, I don't take the red copy. This is mine. This is the duplicate of the red book. This is the one I carry with me from every time I have a doctor's appointment. They want to question something, I have it right here. On top of putting all your VA files, your civilian medical records in here related to your claims, I would also suggest that if you are suffering from Gulf War illness or you're suffering from any kind of illness related to your VA claim, and you can see the effects of that. For example, I get flare-ups, skin rashes, diarrhea, the whole 9 yards. You know what? Yes, I take pictures of my diarrhea as evidence. All my videos that I've made related to my claims, here's all the videos. Many of these are on YouTube, several of them are not. I even have audio recordings. When it comes to my IBS, I have recorded the sounds of that, and those are on the secondary disc. As I've said before, you can see anything related to any of my ailments. I keep photographs of it. I keep logs, the whole 9 yards. It's all in there. Okay, so see right here, I even have a copy of, I went to the hospital and I had a PET scan done. I have my own copy of this. Here's my copy, and I have a secondary copy, which whenever I go to the doctors, I can give it to them in their hands. All the DVDs, all the audios, I can turn around and hand it to them right on the spot and say, there you go, there's my evidence. Initial claims with the VA. You want to get a copy of everything. You want to go to the VA and see if they have any kind of files on you. If they do, get a copy. I'm going to include in the video, in the link below, it'll show you how to get your personnel and your active duty personnel and medical records. Also, how to get your DD-214 if you're missing that. Civilian medical records, you want to go to every single one of these doctors and get a copy of them. I have not had a problem with any of them. There was only one single instance where one of the nurses kind of gave me a hard time, but I made it perfectly clear to her I will get the records, and she was compliant. You don't have to scan all these. If you want to spend the time to back them all up, that's fine. However, these, I would strongly suggest, and again, I say strongly, I would suggest backing them up. Get them scanned, create folders on a thumb drive, and organize them in there. All right? I have these backed up on a thumb drive, and every single piece of paper that's on here, they are also backed up on between my Google and my Dropbox drive. Personnel files, military files unrelated to my claims are on OneDrive, Cloud Drive. All the other ones directly related to my claims on the other Cloud Drive. This way, irregardless of whether I take my book or not, I can take and access my records anywhere, anytime, directly from my cell phone, my laptop, my tablet. It's right there. They want to see a photo of, they want to hear the audio from my IBS, I can play it right on my phone. Once you have obtained all your records on your initial claim, you want to be very detailed, as much as possible. Give name, dates, times, the whole 9 yards. Do not submit an incomplete claim. If you need help submitting your claim, a lot of us Gulf War veterans tend to have mental cognitive dysfunction, and so a lot of times we tend to need help from other people. Get a hold of a VSO, whatever you need to do, but please do not submit a incomplete, inaccurate initial claim. The stronger you make your first claim, the lesser chance you're going to have of it getting denied and having to go into appeal. Because once it goes into appeal, here's the problem. The ticker, there's no longer a time ticker against them. It doesn't count against the VA. So it can sit in there months, years, decades. You might be dead by the time they get to it. And you want to avoid that. Dealing with appeals. I made a lot of these mistakes during my initial claim. And that's why I'm making the videos, so that you don't make the same dumb mistakes. Well, I wouldn't say dumb or stupid mistakes, considering I didn't know how the system worked. You want to go ahead and highlight all the mistakes that were made. There's stuff that they had to have missed. I'll give you an example. My last CMP claim, which was denied by the VA, if you take a close look right here, the bulletin in red, I inserted my text in here, letting them know the mistakes that were made on each page. So getting help with your VA claims. You want to get all of the VSO, whether it be American Legion, DAV, Veterans Foreign Wars, or whatever. I would suggest using one. Don't do it on your own. They're going to have a better understanding of current VA laws in certain areas. For example, you take Gulf War illness. They're going to know the current laws. What are the presumptive conditions? so that you don't make mistakes when submitting your claim. For example, I submitted a claim for GERD. GERD is not a presumptive of gulfal illness. IBS is. So if I would have submitted the initial claim for IBS versus GERD, I probably would have had a better chance at getting my claim, approved. So you want to shop around for a good VSO. Don't take it for granted that you go into a VSO's office that they are going to do their best for your claim. It's kind of like car shopping. If you do not feel comfortable with that VSO, let's say I go to a representative for the American Legion, if I don't feel comfortable with that VSO, by all means, drop them. Move to another one. Go to the DAV. You want to get somebody that you feel that is going to actually do the work, is going to fully represent you. If they're going to do a half-assed job, then that's not going to help you. I can tell you right now, with everything that I know now, everything that I have learned, I could have avoided a lot of these mistakes. If you are on active duty, if you are in the Guard, activated or whatever, one thing I am going to tell you is before you ETS, before you get out of the military, make sure every single piece of paper that you have, you might think it is irrelevant, unimportant, but believe me, it may be so in the future. Before you get out of the military, you want all this stuff so that if 10, 20 years down the road, you start having health problems, like a lot of us veterans suffering from gulfal illness, a lot of Vietnam veterans suffering from Agent Orange, and so forth, you're going to have the advantage being that you have your files. You're not going to have to end up going backtracking trying to obtain those files. And you hear the other thing you have to keep in mind is if you don't back it up, if you don't take these files with you, right, there have been a lot of veterans' records either destroyed during fires, destroyed purposely. For example, I think it was in Cleveland, there were 2 employees from the VA that had discarded, destroyed medical records. I'm not sure if they were claims, I don't remember offhand, if they were claim records or their entire records of 1,800 veterans. 1,800, that's a lot. These 2 VA employees, the only thing they suffered as a consequence was a letter of reprimand and probation. However, for 1,800 veterans, if they don't have this stuff right here, they're going to catch hell trying to submit claims or submit appeals. There's a lot of records. I remember in the fire, I believe in Indianapolis, if memory serves me correctly, where many personnel files were destroyed in the fires. There's a lot of records during Desert Storm, Desert Shield. When we shipped back stateside, the records were ordered to destroy. So in other words, what I'm telling you is take responsibility for your own records, because I don't think you want to trust somebody else to manage these files. mean, if you really trust somebody else to maintain your files, you're really deceiving yourself. If you put your total trust in me to maintain your files, I would tell you you're an idiot. So, the responsibility is yours.